ladies and gentlemen, today we're taking a look at a massive breakdown of these huge Pokemon Scarlet and Violet riddles that have been popping up, and of course our boy SoulSilver came through and has been just giving us a massive breakdown of all of this. So let's get into his thread right away, kicking off from here, which SoulSilver says, with this practice in mind, and he starts off saying this because this was from a previous thread where he talked about what this possible riddle that we were given could be in relation to. But he says here, with this practice in mind, how can we apply it to Ku's first image riddle? I personally believe it's telling us the typings of the box legendaries, which would be interesting. I think it's so complicated looking, but in reality, it is simple. If you look at the gears in this image, there's a fighting, dragon, and electric. Let's continue. Ku told us that there are 10 hints that all point to the information. So are they all pointing to the same thing? Mostly. The biggest one we have is the pseudo legendary and the Titan legendary and the box legendary. Then there's Cynthia and Anne with the image, which are legendary trainers, and Titan is also, by the way, the sword, like not a sword, but the Scarlet and Violet code names along with Gen 9. So here's what Riddler Ku said in his post, which is totally 10 hints buried in the pic, all point to the early juicy exclusive info from me. Could you solve it? You know too much because of my generosity after this. And that's when he posted the image showing the player character, Cynthia and Anne, which whatever that was supposed to mean. But then SoulSilver had an interesting take on this. Back to the gears. I believe they're the keys to the Legends types. So they probably both share the Dragon type, but one is fighting and one is electric. So it's the first time since Generation 5 we may have a Dragon box legendaries or legendaries, right? Save this tweet and come back later because you heard it here first. And this is because of the gears that we see, the gear that you actually can have on your characters within the Pokemon Masters game. So basically these gears could be hinting to those specific things. One is a fighting gear, one dragon, and one is electric. He continues on. The only other type that could be in the mix is the dark type in the top right and the rock ground types from Regirock and Garchomp. However, none of these are part of the practice or the method he's using to kind of deduct everything here. Now, hint, which have the hint is which have the gears as keys. Maybe still good to keep those types in the back of your mind just in case. So the dark typing in this case and the rock ground typing. We continue on though. He says there may be a small possibility the third legend of the trio is the typing in the top right, since red hair equals Scarlet and purple iris equals Violet. And then the darker skin could be a third legend as a dark dragon type. And all the PLA customization options, by the way, you know, like could be that instead. This probably wasn't intentional though, because not only does it feel as certain as the other two, Ku said the hints are all editable terms. Specifically, that things here that are hints are the things that the kind of values and stuff and the images that can be edited within the game and whatnot. So basically what it says is the actual hints are still the editable terms on this master screen. So this typing in the top right, as well as most of the numbers, aren't easily editable. So I believe they are just smoke and mirrors. The 151 feels deliberate, but, and as Riddler Ku said in his post, in order to decipher it, you need to learn how many editable terms there exist at first. With that material in hand, caution, I won't be this kind next time. So he's already telling us for us to solve the actual stuff here, we need to have essentially the key, right? To solve the riddle, you need the key. To solve the code, you need the key. And right now, the key would be the fact that we need to look at what things in this image are things that we can actually edit and what things are here that we cannot edit, right? What are uneditable things? We continue further. He continues saying, could be a deliberate misdirection. The bottom line is there a few other hints here I haven't figured out, but they are still related to the box legends. And some of these hints are just fake to throw us off, especially the interference term hashtag. So 26th may still be a trailer, but he continues on. And this was someone says, that's 15 things. I don't know. You seem to be saying some S. I doubt. And he continues on. So your mission is picking up the 10 real ones, which is fair enough. And then he continues on here. Feels unlikely. Then lastly, puppy real info confirmed, which is hilariously and also means many things. But when he says puppy, it's almost always real info. It's a misdirect he always uses, and it could be a reference to his dog with wheels pick being real and possibly related to the legendaries. And of course, it's this image where it says, if this were not central, then who would it be? Oh, I talk too much. So who knows? Is it some sort of dog legendary we're getting again, which would be a bit weird because we already had 2 wolves with, you know, Zacian and Zamazenta, but I don't really know. What do you guys think about that in particular? And there is also another breakdown that was given to us here, specifically on this picture by SoulSilver Art, where he goes in and says, "Don't let the hate fool you. I believe this could be our first look at a ride Pokemon or a merchant's Pokemon. Could be a brand new mon or a regional form or regional evo of a dog mon we already have. Furfro makes the most sense. Here's why," and here's a thread. And big thank you to Jun17761, who actually gave a bit of a breakdown on this, who basically goes in and says the following. "In European mythology, dogs were said to be the seeds of fairies, so this most likely is a representation of that. The Pokemon in question might be a Furfro because it's based off of a poodle. The Portuguese water dog is a popular breed of poodle in Spain," which could be interesting. So what could the case be here? Could it be that that's what his whole like image there of the dog relates to? We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. We, however, continue in the big thread to the following. "I also forgot, it's possible that one dragon is used by or related to the villain, and the other dragon is related to a female child or hero that Game Freak put a lot of love into creating. Also, I love this, the Chariot may be connected to legends, and it may be even incorporated in their designs, as this person here like essentially said. So Chariot-based legendaries or Chariot Pokemon to hold the legendaries like a Ridemon, which honestly, the idea of a legendary being rideable in some sense or way isn't too far-fetched, because we literally have Calyrex and its steeds, right? Its horses, you know, like the ones that you can essentially put Calyrex on and fuse it with for it to ride them. That's a thing we already have. So the possibility of that is endless. They can still do that. It's still a possibility. It doesn't have to be a horse. It could be a different animal. The next one is another possible big connection. I know it's a cut orange, but these are clearly 2 groups in Scarlet and Violet. I keep saying Sword and Shield. Scarlet and Violet. Groups usually related to the box legendaries. Many have speculated this orange is also a wheel of some sort. Maybe only the legendary of this orange faction is connected to the Chariot Pop in this case, right? So who knows? But I'd love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions are on this, because honestly, SoulSilver really went hard on trying to break a lot of this down, and I'm going to just break it down as following in my personal, you know, thoughts and opinions. So here's what I think. The idea of a Chariot-based legendary isn't too far-fetched, because we've already seen it with Calyrex in the past, of a Pokemon riding on other Pokemon, of all of those being legendary, by the way. So that's not out of question. Then, as for the riddle itself, Riddler-Ku has proven himself to be real and actually have genuine information. Sometimes he is a little bit far-fetched with some of the information he gives us, and it's a little hard to know if anything he says is real or fake, but most of the time he's been correct, and he hasn't actually given us false info. Now, where he gets his information from, I don't really know, but that's really besides the point. It doesn't matter. We know that he has real information, so when he does post stuff, it's worth taking an extra glance and look at it, because it could hold some value going into the future. In this case, I'm not really sure. There's too many things going on here. There's too many details. There's too many possibilities. It's too widespread. SoulSilver has tried to narrow down what the key to solving this riddle is, which is looking for specifically terms that are editable, and anything that's uneditable is kind of fetched, thrown away essentially. So I don't really know what we can get out of this, if there is enough here for us to kind of like narrow down and say this is what this riddle is saying. For now, I wouldn't be surprised if those typings make a lot of sense, with Dragon being the foundational typing of the legendaries, with, Fighting and Electric being the other 2 that connect to that, which actually wouldn't be too far-fetched in a sense, right? Like, they actually would fit well together. We haven't really seen those typings, work out, like in other cases. So, personally, I'm totally on board for it. As for if it's likely to happen, I don't really know. But I want to know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, and bye-bye.